Okay, we start the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Yeah, Sister Hun Ling.
Good.
Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammang saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranam Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Maja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. All right. Let us start with some meditation before we start the Q&A session. Okay. Okay. So let us start with the Q&A session. There's quite a number of questions. Okay, before we start before we start, just to remind you, my internet tonight may not be so stable, so so I may have to log out and you may have to come in again, because maybe I have to change internet, change the Wi-Fi also. Anyway, all right. Let's share the screen. Okay. All right. All right. This is the question. Bhante, yesterday before my mother was going for her operation, in my mind, I did make a vow that if my mother successfully goes through the op, I will observe 8 precepts for a week. And immediately after her op, I'm now observing the 8 precepts, but not as perfect. Sometimes a bit delay in lunchtime till 12:45 p.m. Is this vow considered rites and rituals? Needs Bhante's clarification. Okay. Now, okay, we'll talk about it. Yeah. Now here, this 12:45 p.m. For Malaysia is for Peninsular Malaysia, it is not over the noon time yet. Yeah. For example, like in Malaysia, like in Peninsular Malaysia, the noon time. Let's say for today. Let's say for today, what time? Let me see. Yeah, today it's 1:12 p.m. Yeah. The noon time is at 1:12 p.m. Now, I cannot say for those who are in Kuch or in Sarawak or in Sabah. That time is a bit nearer to 12 o'clock. Yeah, but for Peninsular Malaysia, it's not. So Peninsular Malaysia, sometimes it can reach up to about 12. From 12 about 12:50 at the earliest, until about 1:30, 1:39, almost 1:40. Mm. So it's going to be quite late in Peninsular Malaysia, the noon time. Okay, so that you don't worry about that 12:45 in Peninsular Malaysia, since I know that you are in somewhere in Peninsula here. All right. Okay. Now we talk about the virtue, we talk about the sila. Now you said that your mom successfully goes through the op, which is very good, wonderful, excellent to hear that, and hopefully all the best for recovery and so on. But now you said that you want to observe the 8 precepts for a week. Okay. So in this case, in this way, sometimes we have that type of Chinese mentality. The Chinese mentality is that we want to, for example, we want to gain business. Then we go and ask the deva, ask the angkong, tiao tang, Then after that, you have to repay back. You have to repay back for this kind of things, right? Now, when we say that when we repay back in this way, then it becomes in a way tainted. The precepts, observing the precepts is tainted. Tainted because of our emotional attachment. Here, of course, when when we come to our parents, and sometimes many of us are very attached to them. When they're attached to them, a lot of things, Dhamma, we don't realize that a lot of it being tainted when it's connected with them. Let me show you something. You got another question, but let me show you something first. Okay. Limited virtue. Okay, there's limited virtue and unlimited virtue. Now, limited virtue is that seen to be limited by gain, fame, relatives, limbs, or life. The opposite is unlimited. And this is said in the Patisambhida Magga. What is the virtue that has a limit? There is a virtue that has gain as its limit. There is a virtue that has fame as its limit. There's a virtue that has relatives as its limit. There is a virtue that has limbs as its limit. There's a virtue that has life as its limit. What virtue has gain as its limit? Here, someone with gain as cause, with gain as a condition, with gain as a reason, with transgressors a training percept as undertaken. Okay, now you change the word gain into fame and then into relatives, Uh, now here's someone with relatives as cause, with relatives as condition, with relatives as reason, transgressors a training percept as undertaken. The virtue that has gain in its limit, or relatives in this limit in this case, and the rest should be elaborated in the same way. Also, in the answer dealing with the unlimited, it is said, what is the virtue that does not have gain as its limit? Here, someone does not, with gain as a cause, with gain as a condition, with gain as a reason, even arouse the thought of transgressing a training precept as undertaken, then how should actually transgress it? The virtue does not have gain as its limit. Okay, and the rest should be elaborated in the same way. So this is the two kinds of limited and unlimited virtue. So therefore, when we have this limited virtue, that means there are attachment or craving involved. You look at by gain, fame, relatives, even limbs, and even life also. So, so here when we when it's connected with our relatives in this way, in this case our mother, and then therefore it can be our emotional become very entangled inside there. So therefore there is craving inside there. Not to say that you taking the 8 precept is not unwholesome, it is just tainted. It's tainted by all this attachment and craving. Okay, so this one you have to look into it. So we observe the 8 precept, like for example, when we observe the 8 precept in the retreat, then we use that so that we can have a wholesome conditioning in a way that we can able to gain deeper noble cause, noble understanding, noble knowledge, deeper mental development. So those things does not come with gain, does not come with fame, does not come with all these type of things. So it's called unlimited in that sense. So you got to be careful when we take up our virtue, when I take up 8 precepts or even 5 precepts, it's not to show off, it's not to have to become more pride and so on, not to look down on others also, or others don't have precept, I have precepts and so on, in this way. So we have to take note of these things. So be careful of our craving, attachment, emotional entanglement. Next question. Many times my mother fell asleep while listening to Hokkien Mandarin Dharma talks. Is this proper? And will it affect her future behavior or karma? Need Bhante's advice. Okay, now, your mother is almost 90 years old. Oh, not only she falls asleep in Dharma talk, some of you here also fall asleep lah. When I talk until you do not know what I'm talking about already, then your mind also becomes sian already. Then you're also very sleepy and so on. Not talking about a lady who is almost like 80 or over 90 over years old. Now, here when we listening to the Dhamma talk, Whether there's karma or not, actually, I don't really know because I cannot see the future. But I was taught in the past, I was taught in the past that from when I was young with our Dharma teacher, my late Dharma teacher, Mr. Lai, who passed away last year. Uh, in order for us to boys and girls to have able to become alert during the Dhamma talk, you give us the advice that if you sleep during the Dhamma talk, your next life you're going to be reborn as a serpent or a python. So you sleep the whole day through, and day after day you're going to go through. Mm. Uh, but whether it's true or not, I don't know. Sometimes some devotees they told me about that type of, you're reborn in a certain kind of animal who always like to sleep, uh, just to scare you here and there, But I really do not know what type of karma if you just sleep through the Dhamma talk. uh. Because first of all, we don't really able to predict what will able to happen in the future. What we know from our cause and effect, this karma thing, is true from the books only. So unless you have the proper psychic power, then you can able to actually see into the future what certain action that you do that it can give rise to a certain uh, effects. So we really do not know. Okay. So anyway, um, nowadays, of course, if you become sleepy, if you become drowsy, uh, then well, all being recorded, ma. Uh, yeah, sleepy. The next day, come back and listen again. No, sing things like that. But really, the thing is that it's very different when you come back to listen again, unless it's really beneficial to you. Uh, something like something on a certain aspect of meditation that you need to understand it better. Sometimes you need to readjust. Sorry, you got to play again the talks to listen again. Then this one. Dharma talk at home also, like right now, what we are doing that when you feel sleepy, you just switch off the Zoom, you go out, and then you go and sleep already. Nobody can stop you. But when the retreat comes, different story already. You're sitting in front of the teacher. Uh, of course, during that time, usually Dhamma talks in the evening. And during in the retreat session, in retreat, proper physical retreat, residential retreat, then that time the body is very tired. You strive for the whole day, and then when it comes to the 8:30 to give a Dhamma talk, and the teachers is still okay, but the yogis, many of them are quite tired. So quite tired, they listen to the talk, sometimes cannot go in. They don't know what their teacher is talking about. But they sit with the eyes closed as if like they are meditating like that. We know lah, we know. We know. Because we also do that also. Did that also, in the past. Uh, so we'll see. Uh, so so this one is, as I said, come back to your question. Your mom is already almost at that age, so the strength is not so much there. So it's very hard for me to predict her future and so on. So if you just beside your mother, then it'll be good that if she's there, just push her to wake her up, and to listen to the talk, to continue the talk if she wants to. But if she cannot, don't force her. uh, and then perhaps you can able to listen to the talk another time, a better time for her. Hmm? All right. Okay. Okay. This one limited, unlimited. Next one. Now, even after much reading and listening to Dhamma talks, I still unable to grasp and understand what Nibbana is. So I just put aside the concept of Nibbana, not aspiring to attain Nibbana, and instead let the aspiration for ending of endless wandering and suffering in samsara to be my striving motivation, as suffering is very real and clear to me. Please comment. Right? We'll go to number 2 in a short while. Now, here, you see, okay, you all got the question already? Okay, let me stop this one. Now, many of us wish to end samsara, which is the teachings of the Buddha and the right teachings of the Buddha, and we follow that path. We want to end this cycle of birth and rebirth. But a lot of us, the motivation, it's also tainted, just like the earlier one, like the first question. It's also tainted. The motivation is tainted. How is it tainted? How is it tainted? Now, just now you take a look at that particular question. It is said that suffering is very real to you. Suffering is very real to you because perhaps that you are maybe at the last stage of your life, 70 over years old or 60 over years old. Then when we have, at that time, we have all kinds of suffering here and there, many various kinds of suffering. And then when you go through this life, of course, the suffering feels very, very strong, and we wish to get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth. But when we are free from that suffering, let's say, supposing in this life you become young again, let's say, you become 20 years old again, all your suffering over, that's the boss which should call high already. No, you don't want to think about going out of samsara already. You want to re-enjoy all over again. Just like right now, you say that you want to get out of samsara because of all the suffering. But when you go next life, because you do so much of good deeds, next life you end up in the Tawatimsa, heaven. And then you go enjoy. The moment you were reborn there, you forget about your worldly life. I mean, the life when you are as a human being, you totally give up. Then immediately you start to enjoy already. That's why all your relatives don't come back and see you, They're so happy over there. What for you come back to this terrible human life and you have to grow old and suffer and so on, So they don't want to come back. So that idea of samsara, completely we've forgotten about it. We want to re-enjoy life all over again. So that is what I meant. Our motivation is motivated by, there's a certain bias of our mind. We only want to get rid of the suffering, but when it comes into happiness, we don't want to get rid of it. We don't want to get rid of the suffering. We don't get rid of the happiness and enjoyment. No? We are biased. A lot of devotees, we don't realize that we are biased. When we talk about the ending of samsara, we are biased only on the suffering only. Whereas in samsara, whereas getting out of samsara, that means you have to give up happiness, give up suffering, everything. Everything you have to give up. That's the price, for it. But a lot of times we only look at suffering only. And many times we look at suffering only. We don't look at the happiness that happiness and enjoyment has to be given up to. when we talk about the stages of insight now, we talk about the knowledge on the desire for deliverance, right? The knowledge for the desire of deliverance, a few times I mentioned that at that particular time, the genuine wish to get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth, it's real. It's really genuine in that sense. It's real. Uh, because of during that time, the yogi sees suffering and happiness, everything goes into dissolution, goes into cessation, everything just truly impermanence, truly dukkha, and truly of all of them also anatta. It sees that again and again, and then that true desire for deliverance only arises. Uh, So, a lot of us, when we talk about nibbana, again, as I said, we come back to that bias of ours that we want to give up suffering. And we want to give up suffering, but we are not thinking of giving up on the happiness. Huh? So when it comes to our relatives, when it comes to our parents, come our children, things that makes you happy, you don't want to give up. Hmm? You don't want to give up. So recheck your own motivation. Whether your motivation is truly want to give up everything, not only just the suffering only, because right now the suffering, as you said, is very real to you. So they're very real to you right now. It's very impactful and very strong for you. Huh? So you have to remember, getting out of this samsara involves giving up on that happiness and all the enjoyment that you this one. Yeah. So even like that next life, that thinking about enjoyment in the heavenly realm, also you're not so interested about it. You only just want to make sure that in this very life, as best as you can, you want to get out of this suffering and also the happiness of all the conditioned phenomena. You want to give them up, and realize nibbana. Huh? So this is what I'm trying to say. The motivation, our motivation are also important, and you have to look into it. So you see, you're striving your motivation because of that suffering. It's not just that. Let me repeat, it's not just about suffering, it's about everything that you have to give up, including your happiness. All right. Then only when things have become clearer to you, then only you strive even more further. Not only just because of suffering only. Like I've seen this type of meditators. Here, this type of things in meditator. They come because they want to overcome certain kind of sickness. I've met with meditators in the past, of yogis in the past, and they come because they have certain sickness. And they meditate. After that, they overcome the sickness, everything, they're happy already. Then you don't see them anymore. Hey, then after a long time, you see them. Hey, how come you don't come back to meditate? Bhante, bo eng liao. I got business lah. I got chuchu lah. I got this lah, that lah. I cannot lah. Because the motivation is wrong. Yeah. So let me put it this way also for you all, that if only on suffering only you want to get rid of the suffering only, then you won't go far, because of when happiness comes in, you already get attached to it. Hmm? Just like just now, the example I talked about, the sick yogi, and then they want to overcome the sickness, and the moment they finish that, this one, they don't come back for meditation anymore. And a number of people are like that. Number of people. Usually I don't go and force them. Hey, come back lah, explain to them left, right, and center, up and back, and so on. Bo eng. All right. Next question. In the retreat Dhamma talks, the late Sayadaw U Kundala U Pandita, used to stress that all yogis to strive very hard, at the very least, to attain the knowledge of mind and matter, which is also termed as Chula Sotapanna, small or mighty Sotapanna. Please explain. Okay. Now, the word Chula Sotapanna is being used in the commentary. Yeah? It's used in the commentary. They are not actually Sotapanna. They are not actually Sotapanna. It's just minor, small, because of the word Chula. Now, the word Chula here, Chula Sotapanna, is not at the first knowledge, but it says exactly it's the second knowledge of conditioning. Yeah? Now, why is that so? Okay. Hey, sorry. All right. Now, why is that so? Yeah. Now, the nature of this second insight knowledge is to see that whether you have the necessary capabilities to attain sotapanna and higher enlightenments, and higher attainments or enlightenment. Now, what are the necessary capability? One of it is the wisdom factor. The wisdom factor. Sometimes we read about the Abhidhamma. You got you got no roots, you got two roots, you got three roots. The three roots one, you have that wisdom factor, non-delusion factor. So the third one, that non-delusion factor, sometimes some human beings are born without that third factor. Some even doesn't born with another two factor. The what do you call that? What do you call that? Wisdom. The other two, never mind. Now, what is important here? What is important here is the third factor, which is the wisdom factor. Wisdom factor here is to able to see that whether in this very life, whether you can able to attain sotapanna if you strive very hard. Now, many of us have that wisdom root. If you can able to understand, a lot of us, we can understand the Dhamma by reflecting on it, not only by meditation. You have ability to understand the Noble Eightfold Path, to understand the 5 precepts, karma and effect. You understand about a number of concepts of anicca, dukkha, anatta. This type of understanding, it already shows that you already have some degree of wisdom factor in you. Now the thing is that when you have that factor in you, are you able? The next thing is that whether you can able to develop that particular wisdom in order for that sotapanna, to achieve the sotapanna. If you don't, other words, if you don't strive in vipassana, especially if you don't strive, you just keep delaying. Although you have that wisdom, you still cannot able to attain the real sotapanna, the real stage of the first stage of enlightenment. Even you have that condition. So many of us have that condition, but they don't put in the effort, the right effort, in order to attain, to go further. So this Chula Sotapanna, is where you can able, in the sense that you can able to give up on the idea of a self, a soul, a God, and so on, at least on a temporary basis. Because at this knowledge of conditioning, you begin to see the nature of cause effect. Many types intention, how the intention and the body are related to each other, how they condition each other. So this is the knowledge of conditioning. It's Chula Sotapanna. So when a yogi can able to reach this, at least the second insight, and then at least we know that that yogi can able to strive further and further, if the yogi wants to. But because many of you do not have, many of you have the capability, the necessary requirement, but the next thing is that you don't put in the effort into it. You don't put in the time into it. And then, of course, sotapana tak boleh dapat lah, you know. So you cannot able to attain that one. So yes, you have to strive very hard. Yes, you got to strive very hard. Yeah. Pass through, don't worry about the chula sotapana and so on. Yeah. So this one is just to know that whether the yogi has that ability or not. Because a lot of times in the past, sometimes there are so many monks comes into the monkhood. You train them, train and train and train and train. No matter how hard they strive, they cannot even attain, even reach to the first knowledge of insight of mind and matter, or even the second knowledge also. So they try. Then we all know that that yogi may not have that capability. They may not have that inborn capability in that sense. Okay, so this is for this type of terms. The term is just to check, because so many people are coming into. I mean, in the past, so many are doing the meditation. At least the teacher knows. All right, next one. Okay. Bhante, may I know at what stage of insight is a yogi at? When he notes the rising of the abdomen, he feels the sensation of tightness. And at the same time, during this rising, got hardness and vibration sensation arising and disappearing also. Okay. Usually, not usually, sorry, all the time, I don't go and tell yogis what stage you are in. It doesn't matter. Although I teach here, when I teach, I can able to describe a lot of things about the development of the insight. Although I can do that. But when an individual yogi comes to me and exactly want to know exactly where they are, usually even I know where you are, but I don't tell you where you are. I'll just tell you that continue practice. Continue practice. It doesn't matter. Just continue practice. Sometimes I do not know where you are, but I know that you are at the right path and you are not at the wrong path. You are doing rightly and you are not doing wrongly, because you are still watching the observation. For example, like this case, you can able to notice the tightness and so on. We know that the yogi is doing rightly, correctly, but just that you give me that statement, I really do not know what the yogi is going through. So for me, it does not matter which stage the yogi is in. It does not matter at all. Because sometimes the yogi, when they explain certain things, they only explain a certain part during the interview, let's say, and then tomorrow they explain some other things again. And then sometimes I have to know the yogi. Sometimes I have to take a few interview in order to know where the yogi is at. A few interviews, because sometimes the experiences is just a little bit here what they experience. After that, a little bit there, and then after that, what a little bit here, and then a little bit there. A few other days later, then I know. At least I got a bigger picture of what the yogi is at and what they are doing. Then that one, even I know, but I don't tell you. But I know that the yogi is at the right path. I know that the yogi is striving, even though I don't have to go and sit and go and look at the yogi. We know if the yogi is doing well or not. So just by one description, one line, normally we don't know what stage the yogi is in, but we know that the yogi is doing right. So sometimes I really do not know. I really do not know. Just because you see a little bit of hardness, a bit of vibration coming and pee pop pop, pee pop pop. Doesn't matter. Okay. Even the Mahasi Sayadaw, when he wrote so many books about vipassana, he talks about the progress of insight, and many of the books, you have this progress of this vipassana. Now, his job also is just to inform you, so that at least you know that you're in the right path. At least you know you're in the right path. But the thing is that with a lot of yogis is that when you know about the insights and the knowledge of insight, usually they want to compare where they are. They want to compare. Uh, they want to compare themselves with the book, or where they are. Am I this one, and am I not? Or not? At one time, one yogi during in the retreat said, Bhante, can I spare a longer interview session with me? I say, okay. Maybe she or he want to explain a little bit more things. Then when it comes to the interview, Bhante, why why you don't why don't you give us to tell us where we are in our meditation in our meditation retreat? And you talk about all the insight here and there, but you don't let us know exactly where we are. Now, when I go to other teachers or other sidors, oh, they tell you, oh, now you are the fourth insight. Oh, now you are the fifth insight. Oh, now you are the second insight. But why? The only one that now you don't tell us anything, although you can speak all about it. Uh, because here we are not trying to endorse you or anything, Oh, lu si hami inside, that one hami inside, that one hami inside. It's not that at all. It's about your own personal own development. A lot of yogis, when the teacher, when the teacher, verify them to be that particular stage, the yogi's ego, yeah, ego, you coming and bigger and bigger and bigger, the ego. Well, because you got during in the retreat now, you got nothing for you to hold on. You only got your insight and your practice to hold on, that you hold dear to all of you. Other things is not important to you when you're striving. So they forget that knowledge, that development can become a source of your craving and your ego, and you think that you are better than other people because that teacher endorse or verify me to that particular stage. And not only that, not only at this one, but those are also ask the teacher to verify at whether enlightenment or not enlightenment. And then sometimes I hear that certain teachers verify the yogis to be enlightened. Oh wow, why Sayadaw say that I'm already wholesale liao, enlightened liao. Wow. Then after 3 months later, go haywire and the whole mind. Then the teacher want to take back the words, mana boleh. you know, you are toying with people's spiritual progress. If let's say I were to tell you which stage you are in, and I make mistake, you overestimate your practice because the teacher says so. Then that means you are and at times most probably you're going towards a wrong path or wrong overestimation. Then the pride and ego all pop up. So that's why for me, I find that you will finally come to know for yourself if you practice enough. If you want to practice that little bit, you want to know what stage not necessary. You'll come to know for yourself what stage you are in later on. When things become clearer, more your practice become much more significantly developed, then all these things will come to you later on. Just practice more and be patient. It will come to you. So don't have to worry about, what stage you are in. What stage you are in that, for example, if you are here, you are at the right path. You are the right noting, you are doing it correctly. And that is the most important one, because that, if you don't overthink, don't overestimate, don't underestimate your practice, you just note what is in front of you, just note lah, don't overthink, just note on it, and then you will progress. But if you can overthink and so on, that will be your hindrance, that it will stop the meditation. Huh? So, my job as a teacher, as an instructor, is to make sure that you don't go at the wrong path. I'm not here to endorse you. I'm not here to verify whether you are enlightened or not. This is not my job. This is the Buddha's job. You are 2,500 years late. That is not my job. My job to make sure that you just keep on going. You think that you are Sotapanna? Keep on meditating. Keep on striving. Arahan aboy kau go. You just keep going on it. Just keep going and going and going until you lie down flat at your coffin. Yeah. So that's all about it. My job is to make sure that you are doing rightly. My job is not to endorse you here and there. So you don't have to know which stage, what stage of insight or what stage of whatever it is. Just to know that you are doing right. For here, you are doing right because you are noticing the ultimate reality. You are noticing the right objects. You are noticing the satipatthana objects. Then perfect. Well, good. So keep on going. That is my answer. Okay. All right. Next one. Next question. Now, these two questions I have to go together. These two questions have to go together. Slightly smaller a bit, then it can fit in. All right. Hey, I have to move this my screen here. Okay. Is absorbing in annihilation of all mind and matter the same as cessation of mental and physical phenomena? Okay. Now the next, this one. In our weekly discussion of the Manual of Insight by Mahasi Sayadaw, Chapter 5, The Experience of Nibbana, page 263, Sayadaw was discussing entering fruition and instructed the meditator to determine the period for absorption in advance, or the determination to enter the friction quickly or to be absorbed for a long time should be made before beginning to note. Okay. Does the meditator have the power to determine the length of the period of their friction absorption to last? Or can Bhante elaborate on the various aspects for this happen, such as the yogi skill? I think 50% of you all don't understand what the what the question is about. It's yang si muyami. Anyway. All right, let's us go to the first question first, because both of it in a way that they are connected, the way they are connected. Now, absorbing in the annihilation of mind and matter, cessation of mental and physical phenomena. Now, it's hard for me to understand what is actually you use the annihilation of mind and matter, and whether the cessation of mental and physical phenomena. Sometimes these two things, it can mean the same thing. It can mean the same thing depending on who is the author. Sometimes it can mean totally different things but very connected. Different things are very connected. Okay? Now, all right. Okay, let me this one. Friction absorption. This is called Pala Samapatti. Pala Samapatti, okay? And then you have a cessation, 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 cessation absorption, let's say. This is Nirodha, Nirodha Samapatti. Cessation friction and friction absorption, they are different. Whereas this friction absorption, Nibbana is your object. Whereas cessation of absorption, Nibbana is not your object actually. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure whether which one is which one when it comes to the translation of that English word. But in the Pali word, it's very clear. There's Pala Samapatti, there's Nirodha Samapatti. This one, for all noble ones, can achieve this Pala Samapatti. And this friction absorption is going to connect it with the question down there. Yeah? Whereas this one is only for Anagami and Arahant. With Arahant, with 8 jhanas. With 8 jhanas. Noble ones, not necessarily they have 8 jhanas. All noble ones can able to achieve Pala Samapatti, which is friction absorption. If you reach the first stage of enlightenment, you already can able to go into friction absorption. Okay. Now, whether your friction absorption is it cessation of mental and physical phenomena? Hard to say. Whereas Nirodha Samapatti, here is that Nirodha Samapatti, it's in a way is annihilation of mind and body, which is in a way, I think that it is Nirodha Samapatti for your first one. But again, you use the word cessation again, but normally English, they use the word for Nirodha, they use the word cessation rather than annihilation. Yeah. Because annihilation can means like it's like they try to not use the word annihilation in the sense of it can be connected with the annihilation view. Yeah? What that annihilation view. So they try to not use the word annihilation. So here, friction absorption is when you reach realize Nibbana. Okay, when you realize Nibbana. Okay, when you realize Nibbana, first time when you touch Nibbana or when you see Nibbana or when you realize Nibbana, then Nibbana becomes your object of your meditation. But it is no more anicca dukkha or anicca nupassana already, because you are not seeing things arising and passing away. So you only see Nibbana as an object. As an object because the friction consciousness able to look at it. But for the first time, you only last you maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and then already you come out already. You cannot last long inside during the first time. But you already eradicate your defilements by the path consciousness. The path consciousness has done its job. You don't even know that you don't even realize that it has done its job because it's just latent defilements only. Okay? Now, so friction absorption, all noble ones can do it. Now, cessation, absorption in cessation, Nirodha Samapatti. Because the word Nirodha, we use the word cessation. And Samapatti, We use the word this one. Now, this one is for Anagami and Arahant. Now, this with 8 jhanas. Now, during this time, when it comes into Nirodha Samapatti, they have to go through one first jhana, come out of the first jhana, go into Pala Samapatti. Come out of the Pala Samapatti, go into the second jhana. Come out of the second jhana, go into the Pala Samapatti again. Come out of the second jhana, enter into the third jhana. Then, after come out of the third jhana, enter into Pala Samapatti. Come out of the Pala Samapatti, enter into the fourth jhana. Like that, until the eighth jhana. So until the eighth jhana, then when he completely get this one, then everything, all mind and matter cease, completely cease, as if like the whole body is dead, but they are not dead. No? They are not dead yet. So the cessation absorption, that one is even more. It's if you have that jhana. Anyway, all of them. Anyway, this one is a bit more difficult for us to understand. No? What is important right now is this friction absorption, because you may not have all the jhanas. So most probably, if you become a noble one, then you can able to achieve friction absorption. Okay, so for your question is absorbing and as I say, so it's very difficult for me to know what is the Pali translation. If they have Pali translation, then that would be good. Okay. All right. Now the next one, as I said over here. Now in the Manual of Insight, page 263, I don't have this one, but I know where you have, because let me share with you this one, Kindle. Now you're talking about experience of Nibbana. This is what the Mahasi Sayadaw's book, how phenomenal. He tried to describe everything, Okay, so now entering friction. You want to know entering friction and how long can you last there? How can you go inside there and so on, right? We want to know about that. So we are going to talk about entering on friction, how to go into Pala Samapatti. I wonder, Gong Liao, the more I talk, the more pasikat the more mind is, more entangled your mind become. Because it's going to be a little bit technical. Right? It's going to be technical, but I try to make it as simple as possible for you all. Yeah? Okay. Now, here is quite the Mahasi Sayadaw explained quite a lot. Not too long. It's just a little bit. Only the words are big. Only it's quite easy to read. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes you can finish reading. But to truly understand it, it take you a lifetime. Or this lifetime cannot finish the next life again. Understand this. All right. Anyway, I'm going to attempt to try to answer your question over here. Okay, let me share back the question again. Now, here, this Mahasi Sayadaw says that when you entering friction, that means you entering into Pala Samapatti. You are instructed to determine the period of absorption in advance, the period of to enter the friction quickly, how long you want to be absorbed into it. Okay, now, this is mentioned. This is from a Houston community, meditation community. Now, let me make it, and it's not simple also, but there's what we call in Samatha Jhana. This also they talk about how we enter jhana in the Samatha Jhana. It's also the same, almost the same thing. All right. Now in Samatha Jhana, When one reach jhana, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, one must try to have this 5 mastery. Okay, you must be able to do a 5 mastery before they says that you can go to the second jhana. Because second jhana. Now, what is the mastery of the jhana? Because when you understand that this thing, you will see that in vipassana absorption also, they are also parallel also. All right. Okay. Mastery in adverting. Now, mastery in adverting in jhana, that means ability to distinguish various mental factors, mental states after emerging. For example, the vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata, even mindfulness and so on. You can able to distinguish these mental stage. Now, mastery in adverting is not easy. Like, sometimes yogis thought that, even samatha yogis thought that, they come out from samatha jhana only. Immediately you can see which one is vitaka, which one is vichara, which one is piti. No, you cannot. You cannot, because these are mental states. You need to have a strong wisdom power in order for it to distinguish it clearly. It is not as easy as you think it is. Even you read the book, first jhana got 5 mental factor, vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata. Wow, you thought that just come out like that? No, not that easy. You come out also, you still mong cha cha, still do not know whether what is going on, but you had a jhana lah. But after coming out, it's not easy for you to differentiate the mental stage. Mental, you're able to distinguish here and there. Even when you are doing vipassana also, the same thing. A lot of yogi cannot even differentiate which one is mindfulness and which one is concentration also, or which one is the wisdom factor also. Everything else, all coming in, even though we are supposed to able to distinguish them, but it's not as easy. So it's not easy to do this, even the first mastery of even in jhana. Yeah? Now, number 2, mastery in attaining. Now, the ability to enter quickly. Quickly here means that at the wish of his intention, he can already goes into jhana already. That is how quickly. Yeah. Then in the text that when a person able to attain a jhana, it's like, for example, like the Moggallana, for all the chief disciple, Maha Moggallana is the fastest of all. It's the fastest of that. That's why his ability in the spiritual, all the psychic power, he is the best, in that sense. So attaining it quickly, that once you're able to attain the jhana, that particular jhana, then you repeat the jhana again and again and again and again and again until you're so skillful that you can, anytime you sit down, the moment you sit down, adjust everything, you tell yourself, masuk jhana, you already masuk already. You already enter already. No need to wait until the in-breath, out-breath comes, everything. Everything is there. They can able to enter it very quickly. So this is mastery of entering. They can go in very quickly. If you do proper meditation, also you can do that too. Now, mastery in resolving is that your ability to maintain the jhana as long as one wish. You want to enter and you want to this one. So you make a adhitthana, you make a determination. You make a determination that you want to stay for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 45 minutes and 35 seconds also can. You can determine, you can ability for that, you can able to determine it exactly to what you want. So this one, it needs a lot of training. So even you after jhana, don't think that you can sekali you dapat your jhana already. Oh, you can go in for 5 hours and sit and then don't come up. No, you cannot do that. This one needs to be trained further and further and further. Uh, Number 4, mastery in emerging. The ability to emerge exactly at predetermined time or due to certain conditions. Predetermined time, that means before you enter into the jhana, then you already fix, okay, I want to stay there for 1 hour, 45 minutes and 35 seconds. Then at that time, ting, mentally, not your phone or your alarm clock. Mentally, at that time, you are so skillful, it can come out from that. Now you can come out very quickly at the right time. Or as a certain condition, maybe because while you are doing jhana, then something happened externally, then you know it, immediately the mind comes out from it. Also, this on a certain condition. You can able to come in, enter, go out again, muscle in the until he becomes so skillful. Now, mastery in reviewing is the similar in with number 1, but right now you see this vitaka or vichara as something flaws or gross. It is not so pleasant anymore. Now, when you're able to see it as flaw or something is very, very rough in that sense, it's not settled in the mind, then the mind ready to get ready to let go of the first jhana, let's say. Now he wants to enter, he wants to practice further in order to gain the second jhana. So what the yogi will do is that he must not able to go jhana, he must mentally predetermine, mentally make adhitthana again to give up on that jhana and then start again with the in-breath, out-breath. If you're doing anapanasati, in breath, out breath, and then all the nimitta comes up and then goes into second jhana again. And he goes to go through all this mastery all over again. That's so simple. Now, parallel to the meditation of vipassana, and this time when you comes into the determine the enter the fruition quickly and so on. This is also in a way they are very parallel to the jhana also. They are very parallel. In the sense that this time the object here is the nibbana. This is supra-mundane, whereas the jhana is still mundane. But you do the same exercise, the same skill. You exercise the same skill. Now, here, when you want to enter the fruition quickly, as long as this one, after you coming out from the first time you see Nibbana, the first time you see Nibbana, after the path fruition, then you see the Nibbana. But once you come out from that Nibbana, you emerge from that Nibbana the first time. When you come out from it, then the knowledge of arising and passing away will restart again. That means anicca nupassana will start again. Now, this time when the anicca nupassana starts again, everything becomes so slow again, very slow. Before you enter nibbana, that time things was going in the speed is so fast, like you're as if like you're driving 200 miles an hour. Then after that, coming out of jhana, then you're crawling at 10 kilometer an hour. Very slow. It's like suddenly break. Then you feel the slowness of it. But nevertheless, the slowness of it again is about seeing into the anicca, dukkha, anatta repeatedly again and again. But right now, when you are able to see all this anicca, dukkha, anatta, all the insight repeat itself again, that time, you know which stage you are in. That time, because it's more clearer. Okay, when you come to your when you come to that particular insight, when it comes to the knowledge of arising and passing away after enlightenment, then when you look back in your past practice, then that time I was doing like that, then you realize that that was that period of time that I had that particular knowledge or insight. Then as you go become more clearer, then you when you look back in your past, you remember back into your past practice, then you know that when I had that insight, when I was that, then you can chronologically know where your progress is. So before you're able to attain first stage of first stage of enlightenment, so you don't worry about that, because after enlightenment, you got all the time for you to know what is happening. So don't worry, meng kin jiang. So just meditate until enlightenment. After that, everything will be shown to you, as long as you don't not dead yet. So therefore, when it becomes like that, it's slow, and then the yogi has to keep on striving. Keep on walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit, walk, sit. Then the progress of the insight will start building up again, building up, building up, building up, until again he can able to reabsorb into the fruition. Now, when you're able to go into the fruition again, this time, because of the training, the time that you're able to stay with the Nibbana, stay with the realization of Nibbana, it gets longer and longer and longer. It's not so easy for in the beginning part for you to determine how long you want. It's only after a while that you begin to meditate, you get the taste of Nibbana, and also the taste of practicing as a noble one. Then practice is so much more better. Then that time you try again and again until you achieve a sufficient stage of mind that you have become very strong, powerful, mentally very balanced. Then you re-enter into Nibbana again. This time, before you re-enter, you make a determination that you want to enter into it for, let's say, 15 minutes. Then you absorb for it in the 15 minutes. After that, you want to determine 20 minutes, then absorb 20 minutes. Now, this time also, when you want to absorb into this one, it's also good that you can use various bodily position for you to do it. Not just only sitting, but also in the standing also. You're doing standing, go into the absorption and absorb for 15 minutes, or stand there for 1 hour. Stand there for 1 hour, just realize on Nibbana. Isn't it? How nice. Stand there for 1 hour, stand there 1.5 hours, you do that. You go to toilet, okay. Then you pass water. In the middle of passing water, you want to go enter into Nibbana. You also can enter into Nibbana while you do your business. Anything you can do that. You become like, you determine to enter. That means you are training yourself, training in many ways, whether you are eating while you are eating at that time. This time is not just arising and passing away. This time is to enter into Nibbana, to see the Nibbana while you are eating. Then how is the whole movement and everything is like. Then here you train to enter, then to quickly come out, because you cannot enter for 1 hour and then you don't eat Cannot. You just enter, come out again, then makan, and then you continue. Then you keep on training and doing until you can able to are so good at entering whenever you want to. That means you can able to enter it quickly. That you already predetermined that you want to stay there for 1 hour, then you come out from it, then you want to go in again, come out from it, and so on. So you become very skillful in entering and coming out of this Phala Samapatti. Now, not only that, you also become skillful in the 16th insight knowledge, because this fruition knowledge is the number 15. Path is number 14. But reviewing knowledge, that you review your past defilements and so on, you also become very clear. That time is like a mastery in adverting, that you know that which defilement is already eradicated and which defilement is still not, which defilement are still not eradicated. You know that the first stage, okay, I already eradicated the skeptical doubt. How do you know you eradicate the skeptical doubt and not others? Then does the knowledge, seeing that you able have already eradicated that skeptical doubt, already go into cessation. Others, like your central desire, still go into arising and passing away. Do you know it for yourself? That means you can able to distinguish the various mental stage, but this time you distinguish of which one eradicated, which one is still there. Whereas in the jhana one is only you know that it's there, only nothing eradicated, because this is jhana ma. So it's the same thing, it's the same thing. So you know which one is eradicated, which one is not. So you kind of review the whole thing all over again. Then mastery in attaining. Just now, as I said, once you are so used to enter into it, anytime you must train yourself, whether you are lying down, whether you're standing up, whether you're walking, whether you're sitting, how to go into nibbana, how to realize it to nibbana. At the moment's notice, let's go in already. Go in already. Mastery in resolving, okay, until you become so good at it, then again you stretch your mind as long as you want, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Emerging again, as at the right time you want to emerge from that, this one again is the same thing like what you do in the samatha. Until the coming to this one, the fifth one, until you get fed up of nibbana. Yeah, you get fed up of getting in the first stage of enlightenment already. You don't want that first stage of enlightenment already. But this time, you make a determination, you want to go to the higher level of enlightenment. So what do? You make a resolve not to go into nibbana. You make the resolve not to advert into it, not to attain it, not to resolve it. You don't want to go into it anymore. Your determination, your adhitthana, is to go back to seeing anicca, dukkha, anatta, arising, falling, sitting, touching, noting, all over again, to re-strengthen the anicca, dukkha, anatta perception. All these perceptions have to be re-strengthened again until you finally attain the second level of enlightenment. Then after that, you redo everything, the mastery again. Oh. Boring. Well, I say it's a bit confusing. Most of the time we talk about until enlightenment and until before enlightenment or enlightenment only. But when it comes into enlightenment, after enlightenment, there are also various ways that we can describe it. But who would like to listen? You listen for 15 minutes only, after that you don't know what I'm talking about already. It's very confusing already after that. But I'm trying to make it as simple as it is. So the samatha in this adverting, we also have this, it's the same knowledge as when you come into the vipassana, in the sense of when one gets enlightenment. And emerging and resolving and attaining and all these things. So these are all training. Finally, it's all training and more training only. It does not come immediately after you are Sotapanna. It comes after Sotapanna. You train and train to attain until you finally fed up with all this first stage of enlightenment. Then you determine for the second stage of enlightenment. So you keep pushing further. So that's about it for tonight's talk. So it's not easy for the last two this one. So hopefully you all can able to understand. All right. Now, what else? So I got nothing else. I said the next one will be my retreat starting already next this coming week, this coming Sunday will be start on this coming Sunday. Yes, we'll be starting the retreat already. And as I said, next Zoom talk will be in the Vesa Eve over here. Same ID, same password. Then we have a talk during that time. As I said, the time is not determined yet. Yeah, we wait lah until the notice come out in the Facebook. This one. Okay. And by the way, I'm in Buddhist Wisdom Center right now. I'm not in Peace House anymore. I'm in PJ right now. Huh? All right. We share merits. Huh? That's it for tonight. Idang me bawanang
Idang me rawanang
nibbanasa
nibbanasa
pachayo
pachayo
hotu.
hotu.
May my mental cultivation
May my mental cultivation
be a condition
be a condition
for the realization
for the realization
of nibbana.
of Nibbana.
Imang no
Imang no
punya bagang
punya bagang
sabba satanang
sabba satanang
dema.
deva.
We share these merits
We share these merits
with our departed ones,
with our departed ones,
with all beings,
with all beings,
and all the devas.
and all the devas.
Sabbe satta
Sabbe sata
sukhi hontu
sukhi hontu
anumodantu.
anumodantu.
May all beings
May all beings
be happy.
be happy.
May they rejoice
May they rejoice
in these merits.
in these merits.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu.
sadhu.